Hello, this is James. Welcome back to Survivor Near's channel. If you have been following us, we have been having a discussion on defensive behavior in relationships as it pertains to our intimate relationships. I encourage you to look at the playlist and look at other videos that have been put out so that you can follow us as we are developing this discussion. Today we're going to talk about how to stay calm in your relationship. Before we dive in, if you are enjoying this content, please subscribe if you would like to do so. We're going to go over 5 areas that will help us to stay calm as it pertains to our intimate relationships. Of course, these principles can be applied to other relationships, and you will see how they can overlap and help us in those situations. The first one is that we need to understand the flight or fight, or rather the fight or flight, as we would say. And this has to do with that time where the human is going to either fight and stay and defend himself. It activates that part of the brain that we are trying to survive and protect ourselves. It's a natural self-protection mechanism. Or we have the decision to fly away or run away or shut down. And this also is a part of the brain, or our nervous system is activated, and we choose either of the two. But we first have to understand that the fight or flight response is natural in situations where we are trying to protect ourselves. However, it's not healthy when we are trying to stay calm in our relationships, when we are having conversations. And this now leads us to, how do we conduct ourselves in conversation with our partner? And one of those things that we need to do is to maintain our posture and our tone of voice, because as soon as you relay, or the recipient or your partner is receiving a negative vibe from you, or a negative energy and possibly anger coming across, that is going to trigger the situation. And so this is why you see in many debates, sometimes if we are to relate to this to the political world, that good debaters will remain calm. Their tone of voice doesn't change. It's constant. And this way, they are not giving away their power. They're not showing frustration. And they are just simply conducting themselves in a manner where their posture is healthy, and it's a tone of voice that is inviting, safe, and secure. So understanding the fight and flight response, maintaining our tone of voice and posture is very important. The next one is very, very important, because when we are in that situation, when we have already activated the nervous system to react, and that is not a good situation. Some of the things that we may do sometimes is now we begin to attack the character of the person. And this is normally due to when the person has already become frustrated and they do not know how to respond calmly. They do not know how to use their words instead of their overreactions or emotions. And they now begin to demean the person. And this is usually based upon a couple of things, and that is that person is just being ignorant. That person is just being, in a more blunt sense, stupid. And it is really stupidity because it's not an intelligent conversation. It's not a way to conduct a healthy conversation. So the last resort now, because they are not getting their point across, they are losing control and feeling out of control, they attack the person's character. So definitely an important one. Keep in mind that if we become frustrated and we're just not getting our point across, maybe you need to just step away, regather the thoughts, evaluate, and come back to it again. But be sure to go back to it again and talk about it right. Another reason that we can use, or another tactic, as we can say, is that we should understand our ego. And what do we mean by this? We need to understand the difference between being selfish and also honest, because the ego is what we are made of. It is how we perceive ourselves, the self. And it is usually a culmination of things that happen over time. And that is from our childhood and our conditioning and how we have been programmed over the years. And so now all these things come together like a puzzle, and now you have a picture in adulthood of the mindset and how we think, how we act, how we respond. Our behaviors, our emotions are all bottled into this, and it becomes the ego, it's the self. So if we understand and can distinguish the ego and our behavior, if it is good, if it is bad, if it is selfishness, if it is a lack of empathy, whatever that negative behavior is, we need to understand it, because if we don't, this is going to keep us from not being allowed to have more self-improvement and grow. So to summarize, and we will give one more here in a minute, I believe, which is going to be one of the most important ones. Remember, we need to educate ourselves about fight or flight. We need to maintain our posture and our tone of voice when we are exchanging in a conversation with our intimate partner, to respect them, to listen intently, put yourselves in their shoes, use empathy, and not attack the person's character, and understand the self. We now can practice one of the last things that I believe that should be done every day, and that is practice mindfulness, practice meditation, and also exercise. But what can mindfulness and meditation entail? Now, usually mindfulness, or we can use the other word of spirituality, is associated most of the time with religion, but it doesn't have to be associated with your system of belief. It could be simply going out into nature and just taking a walk and clearing your thoughts and mind. It could simply just mean, repeating affirmations of, I'm going to achieve this. It could be setting goals. And of course, who you surround yourself with, having a network of positive and healthy people. That can be very helpful, because now you are receiving, and we are receiving information, and we are practicing mindfulness, being self-aware, having that awareness where you are in the present moment. Who am I now? Do not rely on the past. Who am I now, and how can I become a better person, and what goals am I making to improve the self? So I'm hoping that you are gaining value from this, or these series of discussions we are having about defensiveness, because it is all surrounded by our behavior and our mindset. And I hope that you gain value in this one, and how to stay calm in your relationship. Remember, you find yourself trying to overreact or do something physical, step away, gather your thoughts, and practice these few things that we have shared here, and you will begin to see self-improvement. Again, this is James with Surviving Ears. I'm hoping that you are liking these videos once again. If you have not done so, you can subscribe to the channel to continue to follow us on these discussions. You can like or comment if you would like to do so. Again, thank you for watching.